You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Judge's scalding Trump takedown opens the door. Impeachment is next, based on an article by Brett Wilkins. Trump sued the government he runs. A brief accounting. A federal judge found Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS was a fraudulent act of self-dealing, not an adversarial legal claim. The court also flagged the Justice Department's role in brokering a settlement that would have insulated Trump and his family from IRS scrutiny and created a taxpayer-funded slush fund. The state as private counsel. The key fact is not that Trump filed a lawsuit. It is that the president tried to use the machinery of the federal government to protect himself from the federal government. That is not an accident or a misunderstanding. It is capture. Trump waited until he was back in the White House, then placed former lawyers and loyalists inside the DOJ and let them negotiate on behalf of the United States as if the United States were his personal legal shell. That is the institutional power structure here. Trump at the top of the executive branch, his allies inside the department that is supposed to represent the public interest, and a settlement process treated like a private transaction among cronies. The fraud was the point. Judge Kathleen Williams did not describe a hard case made messy by legal complexity. She described a scheme. Her ruling says the lawsuit was filed solely to provide cover for a collusive settlement, and that the supposed adverseness between plaintiff and defendant was a joke. That matters because it strips away the usual fog. This was not government overreach gone wrong. It was government power used deliberately for personal insulation. The settlement's terms make the abuse plain: an exemption from future IRS audits and a nearly $1.776 billion fund advertised as relief for supposed victims of government weaponization. The number itself was branding, not principle. The court saw through the marketing. Blame shifting for the loyal base. Trump's legal team responded the way authoritarians always do when caught with their hand in the machinery. Blame the press, blame a rogue worker, call accountability political. The target list included the New York Times and ProPublica, because the point is never to explain the abuse. The point is to redirect resentment toward institutions that exposed it. That is the recurring trick. Deliberate misconduct gets reframed as leakage, bias, or confusion. Corruption becomes persecution. A president suing the government he commands becomes a story about hostile media and a bad employee. The lie only works if the public is willing to forget who controls the levers. The DOJ is not a bystander. The most damning part of the ruling is the role of Todd Blanche and the Justice Department. Williams wrote that Blanche's ability to speak for both sides showed there was only one party whose interests were being represented throughout this case. That is the sentence that should govern the whole episode. A Justice Department that can be used to negotiate away the president's liabilities is not functioning as a neutral legal institution. It is functioning as an arm of personal power. The same department that should defend the public was positioned to bless a payoff structure aimed at Trump, his family, and the political clients of his movement. That is why the ruling also refers Trump's personal attorney to the bar and bars another from local practice. The legal system is recognizing conduct that the political system keeps normalizing. What this pattern really is. This is not just about one lawsuit or one settlement. It is about the open conversion of public office into private protection. Trump's operation does not merely bend institutions. It teaches supporters to treat institutions as legitimate only when they can be commandeered. That is how corruption metastasizes into political identity. Democrats are right to treat this as more than scandal management. Ed Markey's impeachment demand is not theatrics. It is a sane response to an executive who appears to regard the state as his family office. The larger lesson is starker than a single court loss. When a president can try to sue his own government, use his own department to settle, and then claim he is holding those who wrong America accountable, the problem is no longer one rogue actor. It is a regime of impunity trying to pass itself off as governance. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article, with the automated voice of Amy. Thanks for listening.